The rain hammered against the windows of my small apartment in Chicago, Illinois, the kind of storm that made the whole city feel lonely. I never imagined that one unexpected sleepover would destroy everything I believed about friendship, force me to question my own heart, and ultimately teach me that the greatest victories have nothing to do with winning. What began as a harmless challenge between college friends slowly unraveled into a night that would change two lives forever, leaving scars that would eventually become reminders of hope instead of pain. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, forgiveness, and second chances, please take a moment to like this video, comment where you're watching from, share this story with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe to the channel for more emotional stories that stay with you long after they end. My name is Nathan, and for nearly 8 years, my best friend had been Rachel. We met during our freshman year at a university in Illinois, when we were both awkward students trying to survive classes, late-night exams, and impossible dreams. She was fearless, funny, and somehow managed to make every difficult day feel lighter. While everyone around us assumed we would eventually become a couple, life never worked that way. We dated other people, celebrated each other's successes, and comforted one another through heartbreaks. Our friendship became the one thing neither of us ever questioned. Everything changed during our annual reunion with old college friends. Someone suggested an innocent game night that quickly turned into ridiculous bets and playful competitions. There was laughter, teasing, and endless stories from the past. The final challenge was simple but embarrassing. Whoever could finish an impossible obstacle course set up in a local indoor recreation center without giving up would win. The loser would owe the winner any reasonable favor they requested. Everyone laughed when Rachel leaned close enough that only I could hear her whisper. Her eyes sparkled with confidence as she quietly said, "Win the bet and I'll do anything you want." Those words echoed in my head long after everyone stopped laughing. At first I thought she was joking. That was Rachel. She loved making dramatic promises she never expected anyone to take seriously. But something about the look in her eyes felt different. It wasn't playful. It almost seemed desperate. That evening, a severe thunderstorm flooded several streets across Chicago, making it impossible for Rachel to drive home safely. Without hesitation, I offered my guest room. After years of friendship, it seemed completely normal. Yet the silence inside my apartment that night felt heavier than the rain outside. She wandered through the living room, looking at old photographs hanging on the wall, pictures of family vacations, graduations, and memories that stretched across decades. She stopped in front of one picture of my parents. My father had passed away the previous winter after a long battle with heart disease. Losing him had left a hole I still couldn't explain. Rachel had stood beside me through every hospital visit, every sleepless night, and every painful goodbye. She had never asked for recognition. She simply stayed. Looking at that picture, she quietly admitted something I never expected. She confessed that she had been carrying a secret for months. Her family was falling apart. Her mother's medical bills had become overwhelming. Her younger brother had dropped out of school to work full-time. Rachel had quietly taken 2 extra jobs while pretending everything was fine around her friends. The confident woman everyone admired had been breaking apart behind a smile. Only then did I finally understand why her words during the bet sounded different. She wasn't flirting. She was exhausted. She had reached the point where she believed she had nothing left to offer except promises she never intended to keep. The next morning arrived with gray skies but calmer weather. We drove together to the recreation center where dozens of friends had gathered. Everyone expected another fun competition filled with laughter. Nobody realized that for Rachel, this silly bet had become symbolic. She believed that if I won, she would somehow owe me for all the years I had supported her. As the obstacle course began, something unexpected happened. Instead of focusing on beating everyone else, I noticed Rachel standing alone near the sidelines. She looked terrified, not of losing, but of what losing might require. For the first time, I realized friendship had quietly become a burden she was trying to repay. Halfway through the final obstacle, victory was within reach. One more jump, one more climb. Everyone shouted my name. Then I stopped. Instead of crossing the finish line, I turned around and helped another contestant who had slipped during the course. By the time we both finished, someone else had already won. The crowd groaned dramatically, calling it the biggest mistake of the day. Only Rachel understood. Later, sitting on a quiet bench overlooking Lake Michigan, she asked why I had thrown away an easy victory. Because some prizes cost too much. Winning would have meant forcing someone I loved like family to believe friendship could ever become a debt. She burst into tears. Not because I had lost, because someone had finally reminded her that love isn't measured by transactions. Over the following months, our group of friends quietly came together without telling Rachel. One friend organized a fundraiser, another connected her mother with financial assistance programs, others helped her brother return to school through scholarships and community support. Nobody called it charity, we called it friendship. Slowly, life began changing. Rachel smiled again, her mother recovered, her brother earned his diploma. The impossible weight she had carried alone became lighter because people chose compassion over judgment. Years later, she stood beside me at my wedding, not as the bride everyone once expected, but as the person who had remained my greatest friend through every season of life. Looking across the room, I realized something beautiful. Real love isn't always romantic. Sometimes it's the person who quietly stays when everyone else leaves. Sometimes it's choosing someone's dignity over your own victory. Sometimes losing a bet becomes the greatest win your heart could ever experience. If this story has touched your heart in any way, please like this video, share it with someone who believes true friendship still exists, leave a comment, and subscribe so more people can discover stories that remind us kindness is never wasted. Special request: before this story ends, please comment with the words, "Kindness always wins." Your message might encourage someone who needs hope today. As I think back to that rainy night in Chicago, I no longer remember the obstacle course, the applause, or the forgotten bet. What I remember is a tired friend who believed she had to earn the love she had already been freely given. Life has taught me that the strongest relationships are never built on promises, bargains, or victories. They are built on grace, quiet sacrifices, and people who choose to stand beside each other even when there is nothing to gain. And if this story leaves you with one lesson worth carrying into tomorrow, let it be this: the greatest thing you can ever give another person is the certainty that they never have to earn your kindness, because genuine love has never kept score.